welcome back. It has been a very fast week. It's Thursday night already, hard to believe. And a month has passed, and Gerald Celente is back tonight. Hello, Gerald. Welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Oh, my pleasure. It's getting to be really amazing out there. I have not been able to follow Paul Craig Roberts, what he's been writing, but I know he's on top of this. I have never seen anything like it. It just, if I might, in a thumbnail, it does appear trying to balance the mainstream media lies and deceit, a despicable element of people and information they represent. And what I see in the alt media, and from what I can gather on my own, it does appear that Trump is foundering. I don't see any other way to look at it. I think his staff is completely corrupt. I think he is surrounded by people who are treasonous. They're traitors. The day he picked Priebus, I said to myself, he's been co-opted, or he's dumber than rocks. I don't think the man is stupid. The day he picked Pence, I went on the air here and called for him to dismiss Pence immediately. He was unsuitable, and he has stabbed Trump in the back multiple times, of course. And now this McMaster's guy, what an incredible choice that was. This guy is CFR. It just doesn't work. He told President Trump, Mr. Trump, you really should never use the term radical Islam. Trump doesn't use it anymore. What the hell is this? Anyway, that's just a little thumbnail sketch of some of the things I see. How's it look to you, my friend?
On the economic front, it looks positive.
Good.
And I had changed my forecast about less than a week after Trump got elected.
Right.
And I was very negative on the economy. I was very positive on gold. And I did a 180. And we've been right on it. This is going 4 months now that we've seen one of the biggest stock market boosts in modern history.
It's into the stratosphere. Wow.
And there's reasons for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he follows through, and when I just want to clarify what I just said, the boost from Election Day to New Year's Day in the markets, the last time that happened was with Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1952, just to put it into perspective.
Wow.
The small business confidence at the end of December was at the highest level since 1980. It had the biggest spike since that time. So the reasons for that are if again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or good or bad. I'm saying the if.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes through with these tax cuts the way he's saying for corporations,
mm-hmm.
if he's going to continue to deregulate the way he says he is, if he's going to put tariffs on these other nations, and again, I don't know why everybody's getting so tight about this. This country had tariffs forever. It was only Bill Clinton that took them away so they could get paid off and have the Clinton Foundation and funnel all those hundreds of millions of dollars into it. They call it political contributions. Adults call it bribes and payoffs. And he's shooting his mouth off now about how terrible nationalism is. Oh, I shouldn't be proud to be an American? Because you sold us out with globalization. So going back to Trump on the economy,
mm-hmm.
that's why you're seeing the economy going up. Because it's the expectation, whether or not he goes through with it or not, that's going to be a different thing. It's the expectation that if he pushes these things through, the economy is going to do better. And then you're seeing virtually every week. This week, Samsung announced we're going to invest $300 million in building, not in Mexico, but in the United States.
Yeah.
So when you see that kind of movement going on from one company after another, whether it's South Korean, whether it's Chinese, whatever it might be, that's positive for the economy. And then you're seeing it, and we're seeing the Gallup data just came out. People spent more money per day in February than they did like in I think since 2001. Consumer confidence right now is at a 10-year high.
Right.
So when we look at those aspects, we say, okay, this looks good. Then we look at the things that you're talking about. I mean, is travel bad? How about it's good for nothing? What's it going to do? It'll do nothing.
Agreed. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, let's grow up about this. If you're going to blow somebody's brains out, you're going to get here and do it. You know, you're not going to take flight 733 out of Heathrow to come here. Let's grow up, you know. And again, hundreds of thousands, millions of people seep over the borders, and they're still coming over. They don't have to take a flight over here. And then the other thing is, when you look at his policy now, as we're looking at the foreign policy, you know, look what's going on now. They're putting those THAAD missiles in South Korea. China's warning them not to put them there. And North Korea, we hate North Korea. North Korea is saying, stop doing these enormous exercises, these drills you're doing off our coast with South Korea, the United States Army, and China's saying the same thing. They're saying, yeah, North Korea is wrong shooting off these ballistic missiles, but the United States is wrong by doing these massive drills right around North Korea. And they keep going with them. Now they're putting a missile system in there. So that's the kind of things to us are the negatives. And
Let me go back, if I can, Gerald, and underscore what you said. It's critical. The economic progress in 5 weeks of the Trump presidency has been nothing but thumbs up. It's really extraordinary. You got to go back to January. Fiat announced they were going to invest $1 billion, and then Ford canceled that plan, so they were going to recreate 700 jobs in the U.S. and build another, I guess, a truck plant here. Toyota announced plans to invest $10 billion in the U.S. Now, these stories are not making the kind of news they ought to, and those are positive for the Trump administration. And I think if he does follow through and installs those corporate tax cuts, as you said, Gerald, Katie bar the door, it's going to go.
Exactly, and if we start bringing jobs back here, the jobs stink. The 10 million jobs that the arrogant conmander, Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner Obama created, according to Harvard Princeton study, 94% of them are temporary jobs.
Yeah.
So we again, this all and this how dare you don't let immigrants in. Well, we can't take care of our own people. When we get our economy back in order, then bring people back in. That's what they did during the Great Depression. They didn't allow anybody in. From Mexico, from Europe, from anywhere.
No more immigration.
And anybody out there, by the way, shooting their fat mouth off to keep bringing in immigrants, open up your doors of your house. You feed them, you clothe them, and you give them a place to work and to sleep, and then come and see me.
Yeah, and be sure and introduce them to your daughters and your wives, all right? Let's get serious. Gerald, you know, and you're one of the most pragmatic people I've ever known in my life. You cannot bring people into this country whose prime directive is an alleged religion which calls for our death and overthrow. You can't justify it. It's unjustifiable. If they renounce their religion, sign on to being an American, honor the Constitution, that's a whole different story. These people aren't doing that. Sorry.
Well, again, you look at you got the Trends Journal, the cover,
thank you.
Crusades 2000.
Yeah, that's right.
All this. It's the 10th Crusade. And America can't stop. I mean, they're bombing these countries into oblivion, and they're creating conditions for radicalism, and that's what nobody will talk about, and that's what we did in the Trends Journal.
Hey, we're guilty. We caused it. 15 years in Afghanistan. That's no question about it. None.
So they've created these radical conditions. So the religions become radicalized in those sectors, just like it does in any other religion. I mean, you want to talk about radical religions? How about, could we say Christians? Could we say Jews? So you get the radical segments in all of them. It doesn't mean the whole one's bad.
No. You can't lump any group together. I never have and never will. However, I am watching Europe, as are you, in our home of Italy, our ancestral home, what's happening there. I don't know if these are radicalized or just hardcore Islamists, but it's not good. Yes, we're responsible.
Good, but you're right. Exactly. When they took out Gaddafi, Gaddafi warned, he said, and we wrote about it in the Trends Journal, this is going to be the biggest mistake you ever made. They're going to come flooding into Italy. And they did.
Right.
500,000 in less than 6 months after the United States, under the murderer-in-chief Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, and Susan Rice, launched that war.
Yeah, so and then they took out the other court.
And 500,000 they killed in Syria. Over 7 million refugees.
That's right.
10 million people that have nowhere to go. And of course you're radicalizing the situation. Stay home, mind your own business. Look at the subway system in New York. I was down the city the other day. It's a trip to Calcutta.
Is that bad?
The roads look like crap. Your front end of my car is blown out. I hit some pothole. Almost took out the front end.
Oh my! Well, they say New York is falling apart.
It's falling apart. It's crap. You got a jerk mayor, a bunch of losers everywhere in the country, ruining this country, and we're telling other countries what to do and how we're going to fix them. Oh, and you know what the biggest story that's not making the news, that's out of the news? How the CIA and the FBI are looking at every aspect of our lives, and we're giving them trillions of dollars to do it. Out of the news. Out of the news.
Not my news, not your news, but you're totally on it. I mean, that's it. The MSM won't touch it. WikiLeaks, that data dump, and they've only released 1% of what they have, Gerald.
Do you know where the story is in the New York slime?
What, last page?
New York, page 9.
Yeah, that might as well be.
And here's how the paper of record, the toilet paper of record, because that's only what it's good for. It's only good to wipe yourself with. Mm-hmm. This is the headline they have. Remember, this is page 9. CIA rushes to limit WikiLeaks damage. FBI suspects insider in hunt for leak.
Wow.
How is that for a whitewash story? These little gutless cowards.
Yeah. Man, that's a twist. That's wild. And
they have a huge picture to the right of it. It's only 2 columns. Mm-hmm. The huge picture to the right of it is before fire, troubles aplenty at Guatemala's shelter.
Oh, my. Page 9 next to Guatemala. Okay.
Guatemala is a 4-column story. This is a 2-column story.
Oh, well, look.
With a big photo.
The Times and the Post. Garbage.
This is what this country's become. Yeah. It's a takeover. It's not a democracy.
Well, it's a coup. Color rev. Sure. Color revolution. Coup. And Obama's got his 9-bedroom mansion, and you know it's a command and control center is what it is. Yep. For his efforts, and George Soros is involved. He just moved Valerie Jarrett. Valerie Jarrett just moved in the other day. He's got 250 plus offices staffed around the country, the Obama organization. Eric Holder is about to announce that Obama will be coming back. In fact, he did say Obama's making his return to public life soon. So these people are stepping forward and in our faces, literally trying to overthrow the executive branch of the United States government. That's what's going on here.
Well, CNN, you talked about Jarrett.
Yeah.
They tapped his daughter. She's an advisor that's going to cover the Department of Justice of CNN.
Jarrett's daughter?
Yeah.
Well, all in the family.
Jarrett, Valerie Jarrett's daughter, hired by CNN.
All... And Brzezinski's daughter.
Cartoon News Network. Look at they got Chris Cuomo over here, Mario Cuomo's little boy, Andrew's brother, on CNN.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephanopoulos. How about Stefan Crap?
Yeah. What a turd he is.
Nothing of a boy.
He is. He is a nothing.
A little nothing of a boy. All of these people with their bad attitudes.
Little smirky, smarmy punks.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, the CIA story is the big story that's not making the news. They can tap in every aspect of your life. And when they killed that guy Hastings, everybody in the business was saying, boy, I bet the CIA did that with that tapping into his car. And he warned people. He said his car was being screwed with. And bam, there he goes, 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, they just floored it. And he held on as long as he could and then lost it. It's sickening. They murder people all the time, Gerald, as you well know. Life means nothing to these people. Look at Gaddafi with Hillary Clinton presided over the kind of murder. She set that up. Look what they did to Saddam Hussein, killed 2 to 3 million Iraqis. I mean, it's no wonder we have what they're calling alleged refugees everywhere. They really can stay home. All we have to do is stop fomenting terrorism, funding terrorist groups, and fund these people's lives, put their lives back together again. They'll stay home, and they don't want to leave.
Of course. And then this New York slime, they get this other little coward boy, this Stephen Ehrlinger. Front page story. Remember, the CIA story makes it page 9 about RT,
2 columns.
Russia Today.
Yeah.
Russia Today front page story about what a propaganda outlet is, and the people they have on there, like myself, he calls me a crank. Because I complain. Crank, I said, come over here, you little jerk. Come over here and say that to me, you little piece of crap, and I'll call you out. And what a little whore you are for sending us into the Iraq war.
That's exactly right. Wow, a crank. Yeah, no one should pay. Look,
and you should see this little fat boy, a little boy of nothing. All these little guys are little boys of nothing.
We really have to disconnect from the New York Times and the Washington Post.
It's the New York slime.
Slimes, yeah. All the news that's not fit to print. And Bezos and the Washington Post, they're no better. They're just a little different. You know what he's doing now at Amazon? They're starting to censor books. Censor books who question the official story of World War II. You can't even question it. You can't bring up an intellectual, sophisticated discussion about it.
It's Nothing. A takeover. It's a takeover.
That's what it is. That's what it is. We're in the final days of the Republic, of, by, and for the people. There's not much time left. We're at the final crossroads. And as I talked about last night with Jay Widener, this issue, Gerald, is really tied to this whole Pizzagate pedophile satanic ritual abuse that is apparently far wider than anybody, practically, unless you're in it, could ever figure out. I knew it. I think you knew it. It's all over the place. It's in your town. It's in my town. It's everywhere. Pedophilia, satanic ritual abuse. No one talks about it because they go in and they take over the key positions in that town, and that's it.
Well, look at the church.
Oh, they've got organized pedophilia. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look, one after another.
Yeah.
They covered it up for how many years,
Forever.
So, look at these are sick people. They're sick people that are running the governments. I mean, the CIA. Right. Look at that guy Clapper. I mean, you look at that face. Marvel comic books couldn't come up with a better one.
Couldn't.
Other than
evil, scary. That guy's face was scary. I agree. I agree. And he is a Wahhabi Muslim. And he looks like it. He's a maniac. When he was over as CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia, he became a Wahhabi, which is a radical.
Wahhabis are crazy, I know.
They are nuts. And he is one. Okay? So he and Obama were really close because of Obama's Muslim background and heritage and obviously political inclinations. They were very close. You don't hear about that either. I read a story about that. They had an incredible relationship, very, very tight. So, he's nuts. It's very scary stuff to look at his eyes. I look at his eyes.
All of them. I mean, you look at these guys who run this show.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the people, I love this one. They say, that guy Putin, he was a former CIA, KBG guy, KGB. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but we got all these guys. Oh, how about George Bush Sr.? Wasn't he the head of the CIA?
How many people has he killed, huh? How many people has he engineered the demise of, and governments have been overthrown? Of course he was. He bailed out of his TBM torpedo bomber in World War II and left his navigator to go down in flames. He didn't have to do that. They got a little flak damage. He jumped. He wanted to be a war hero. The guy's just bogus from day one. And now...
he's the head of the CIA, and he launched the first Iraq war.
That's right. That's right. It's all there, Gerald. All you have to do is be able and be willing to spend the time to try to discern what's happening. But it's not easy with the Communist News Network, the crap news network, constantly quotes the New York Times or the Washington Post. They just reinforce each other.
It's a circle jerk.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Not going to stop.
This guy calling people like me a crank. As these people are taking us to war. I'll give you a crank.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah, a little fat, pudgy doughboy. I'll bet he is, like you said.
Oh yeah. You can look him up. A little nothing of a boy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they like. They just staff it with punks, thugs, and puffballs. It's the New York slimes. People shouldn't pay any attention, but we can't really avoid it because the mainstream media, they're all in bed together. Like you say, it's a circle, and they promote each other. So the average sheep looking at it says, well, gee, these must be the boys and girls to pay attention to. Must pay attention to the Times. If they're quoting it all the time, must be big newspaper. No, ladies and gentlemen, not. It's a disinformation, public misinformation, house organ of the globalist elite. That's all it is, all it ever has been.
That's all it is. That's all of these are. Again, look at the facts are they took us to war. They lied us. They got them aluminum tubes and yellow cake and this, and they lied. They lie. They lie about every war.
They lie about everything.
Yeah, and everything.
I don't know anything that they really are credible about anymore. It's beyond disgusting, Gerald, and I don't know how if Trump doesn't hang in there, he can do it with the economy, but he's not doing it with foreign policy so far. He's not doing it with he's got a staff that is just rotten, in my opinion. And you see these pictures of the Oval Office. I'm sure you've seen enough of them. Who's always in the picture? Little Mikey Boy Pence, the little Boy Scout who's ever so loyal. Jerry Kushner, the little Mossad agent, who is standing usually 3 to 4 feet away from Trump in every picture I've seen.
Yep.
Little worm.
What's he doing there? I know.
Little worm, and Trump's daughter comes in. Kushner converted his daughter to Orthodox Judaism, so he got hold of her, cranked out 3 little Orthodox Jewish kids. Trump is he's tied in. Look, the guy is really outflanked.
When Netanyahu came to one time when he came to the States, he stayed at Kushner's parents' house.
That I didn't know. Well, that's enough to make you retch. Hold on a minute. We'll come right back as we continue on this Thursday night. Okay, welcome back. Jeff Rense and Gerald Celente talking about the nation, and it is it's crunch time. This is it. I hope Donald Trump will follow through. He talked about a 15% corporate income tax rate instead of 35. He talked about, at one point, I remember this very clearly, he talked about how all Americans who earn less than $50,000 or less, will no longer pay income tax. See, that's smart. I haven't heard that since he first enunciated it, but that would be another one. And I also, and this may turn a lot of you off, I don't know, but it's my sense of things. I would much rather see the IRS completely dissolved and thrown into the nearest dumpster and then set on fire and replaced with a value-added tax, a national, call it a VAT tax, whatever you want, a consumer tax. I know it'll harm some people, but if you buy a lot of stuff, there's the money. The money will be produced. What do you think of a VAT, Gerald? Does it totally turn you off?
Well, I'll tell you why it does, because the billionaire class and the multimillionaire class will be paying the same thing we are, and for them a tax is nothing, and for us,
well, theoretically, they buy a lot more consumer goods, high-end, big-ticket things.
Up to a point, of course, but still, that's
no way to make it work, huh?
I just don't see it like that, but I'm against the federal income tax as well.
Yeah.
What was that put in place for World War I?
That's a horrible institution, and nobody even understands the damn code.
It's a war tax.
Yeah, it shouldn't have stayed.
Yeah. Yeah. And and the government should be shrunk by, probably about 80%, the federal government. Name me one agency that works properly. Name me one.
There isn't any.
There isn't any.
No, there are none.
And all it is are jobs for politicians' friends. That's all these people are.
It's called patronage.
I know what the thing was. That's
Absolutely.
all it is. Yeah. That's the whole system. So it's one big patronage system. So we don't. And again, the military. This is ridiculous. All of a sudden we got to clap for the military, cheer for the military. No, I don't. That's not my. And no, they're not protecting me. They're making my life less safe by going into foreign countries, killing millions of people, and occupying the joints. This is not what the founding fathers or this country was built upon. I don't need these people to tell me, no, I'm wrong, and they're right. I'm going by what the country was built upon, what our purpose is, and our purpose is not to go into foreign countries. And here's the bottom line. They haven't had a victory since World War II, so I'm tired of hearing about their arrogance.
Right. What happened to Donald Trump, the peace-oriented, stay home, no foreign entanglements president, which he talked about at great length during the campaign?
I know. Well, again, and again, I put my money where my mouth is, just for everybody listening. I launched OccupyPeace.us. It cost me a lot of money, 6 figures, and I'm not, I work for a living.
Yes, of course.
Unlike Trump, who was born on third base and thought he hit a home run after his old man left 4 kids, $300 million. My father, may he rest in peace, left me in 1977 AMC Eagle. So so when I talk about peace, I put my money where my mouth is, and I do my work on it. So now here's the headlines. U.S. Marines deploy to Raqqa, artillery in tow. U.S. confirms more ground troops sent to Syria. Wow. U.S. mulls reserve deployment to Kuwait for ISIS fight.
That's right. I've read all those stories. So where is... I still say Trump had to have been co-opted, Gerald. I know it sounds melodramatic like a Hollywood movie, but I think the people that are really running the world sat him down and said, Mr. Trump, we're going to let you be president here, but here's how the game's played. It could have happened.
Jeff, look what I talked about with the CIA thing coming out. It is a deep state. It's in front of us.
It's right there.
And you got this guy Comey, the FBI director. He said Americans shouldn't expect absolute privacy.
He said there is no absolute privacy in this country anymore. That's what he said.
No.
They push it. They push it right in our face. They just laugh.
I know. Don't you know who we are? We could do anything we want. Don't you know who we are?
We're the wise guys.
Yeah, I know.
Unreal. All right, let me go back to this thing about immigrants and refugees, and I'm sorry. Look at what happens in Europe. Read the headlines.
I know.
Muslims slaughter Swedish parents of little children, then sit and laugh after the cops pick them up. Belgium parliament member. The Muslim invasion will be the end of civilization for the Western world. Here's a year-old article now. Nothing's changed. Rapes, sex assaults by Muslims soar in Germany and Sweden. That was a year ago. Secret Muslim horror, how the elite are destroying Germany. You can read all these stories at Rense. 10 outrageous Muslim stories prove Germany is as pathetic as Sweden. Back home here, a Vermont mayor was finally voted out after 5 terms for flooding the town with Muslim immigrants. Remember, the settling of Muslims, or the locating them here in this country, is big money for a lot of these companies. There are companies that do this, and not a few of them are religious. They're making a fortune settling these people here. Now, if, in fact, most Muslims are really good people, why do they butcher and mutilate their women? Because the Quran says so. Where are the good, so-called good Muslims standing up and saying, wait a minute, all these rapists and murderers in Europe, hundreds of thousands of them, don't represent us. Where are you? You have to stand up. If your people are not as bad as it looks, you need to stand up. And furthermore, where the hell are the feminists? All these rapes going on? Where are the liberal feminists? No one's talking about this.
Well, again, where are the liberal feminists with all of the CIA and the FBI?
No,
they're transgender bathrooms. Going back to the Muslim issue, I wrote about this. I coined the term in 1993. This is merely the 10th crusade.
Wow, 1993.
1993 in the Trends Journal, in my book Trends 2000, which was an international bestseller, I wrote about Crusades 2000.
Wow. I started this program in 1994. That's interesting. I remember the book.
This is merely the 10th crusade. Mm-hmm. So what happens is you keep creating radical movements within all the religions by these wars.
Right.
So when you're talking about the Muslim influx into Europe, let's put a date on it. When did it begin?
Well, it's been 5, 6 years that they've been coming in significant numbers, but the dam broke, 2 years ago now?
The dam broke when they destroyed Libya.
Oh, yeah, that goes back to Gaddafi.
In 2011.
Yeah.
That's when I wrote about it in detail in the Trends Journal. And then the rush started moving into places like Germany that were more, and other places in Europe, coming out of Afghanistan, coming out of Iraq, as the United States is blowing these places into little bits. They've killed over 1 million people. If you or I were Iraqi, Celente and Rense, with Iraqi names, and a foreign country comes in like the United States, they kill our parents, everybody that we love. We're young guys.
Yeah.
They destroyed, there's no city left anymore. The whole place is a hellhole. We have no future. You think we'd become radicalized?
Not a chance.
You think we'd want to blow the brains out of those who blew the brains out of our parents?
I've been saying
and
this
our loved ones
since you wrote your book. I wasn't your first. But I picked that theme up. I said, you can't go over there and do this to those people. Every time you kill one of them, you create 10 martyrs. And that's played out to be absolutely true. The part of it that bothers me, though, is who's buying these big rubber raft dinghies that are bringing 100 people over at a time from Libya.
No, who's buying them are the guys that are making the money doing it.
The hustlers. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's all. I'll make money. I'll get you out of here. They're only coming out of Africa. They're coming. Nigeria's or Niger.
Well, Somalia, Eritrea, Sudan.
Nigeria is, they have an economic crisis going on with the collapse of oil prices.
Yeah.
It's the biggest oil producing country in Africa.
Yeah.
And so you have, they're flooding.
So Gerald,
they did not come in before they killed Gaddafi.
No, when he died, it was over. You're right. That was the end of it.
He made a deal with Berlusconi. It's a fact.
Oh, I didn't know this. Interesting.
Yes. The Italians paid Gaddafi not to guard the borders to stop it from happening.
Oh.
I'm telling you, Jeff, I wrote about this in detail in the Trends journals.
I didn't know Berlusconi was such a good man. That's a very smart move. Good job.
Well, again, when did the Muslim problem happen? And nobody wants to say the why and the when.
Yeah, Gaddafi should go down in history, if he had a rightful place, as being really one of the great leaders in the history of the Arab world. The whole history.
He was. He didn't. Yeah. The people there lived better than any other place in Africa.
You can argue that they live better per capita in terms of their natural resources than any other country in the world. They got more back on a per capita basis from their natural resources than anybody I've ever heard. They had it all. That list of things that they got was just unbelievable. And he built that great, huge water project from that enormous underground aquifer. It was called the Eighth Wonder of the World. And what was the first thing that the American jets, the so-called coalition of American jets, bombed was Gaddafi's Great Water Project. You can look it up. Fact.
I didn't know that, but yeah. But again, there were 30,000 Chinese working there. 30,000. And then when you have the destabilization of Mali and all those, that's after they all left. They left Libya. Oh, and by the way, who were the people that overthrew Gaddafi? Oh, it was those good rebels. Yeah, now called ISIS and Al-Qaeda that the United States funded to overthrow him.
Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. He's telling you the truth here. We hired all those thugs, those butchers, those mercenaries. They're the ones who overthrew Gaddafi.
And by the way, that little fat mouth, that Stephen Erling, if you're listening, you're the guys that also sold the Libyan war, you scum.
Oh, they did.
I'm a crank, you scum.
Yeah. It's unforgivable what that newspaper does and did and has it really always done. Same thing with the Post.
And I think the other thing, too, people say, Celente, you get angry. Get this in your head. If the Prince of Peace, Christ, could beat the money changers with a whip out of the temple, I could become angry.
Well, thank God you do. I'm so sick of these people that are always in control, cool, smooth,
it's a lot of baloney.
It's all BS.
You should be angry when there's a reason to.
Sure. That's called being human. And I support it 120%. Always have. This situation right here, right now, how do you, all right, now I say what's not being talked about and what Gerald has mentioned is the economy. And it is already showing signs of incredible vibrancy and recovery. It's headed into the wind. It's looking good. You're not hearing about it though. And that's true. Wall Street must be happy. And if Wall Street's happy, that helps Trump a lot.
That's right. And again, that's why Trump won. This is why we called him, we had in our Trends Journal.
Yeah.
We said, it's the economy, stupid. That old Clinton line back in 1992. And that's all it is. It's the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's go back. They're going to raise interest rates next week. It's only going to be the third time in 11 years. But if
you're talking about the Fed.
The Fed's going to raise interest rates. It's a 91% shot right now. That's the odds. That's why you're seeing gold tanking the way it is. And again, I changed my forecasts. I was very bullish on gold, and I've been on all the media at the end of the year, last year, saying, no, this is not going to be a good year for gold because of the Trump economy and the stronger dollar.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean we're saying it's not a good safe haven asset because of all the other things we're talking about. And I'm going to try to make this as clear as possible. The stronger the dollar gets, as we know, the weaker gold goes. But the stronger the dollar gets, the weaker all of these emerging markets currencies go. Many of them. They have enormous debt that they have in dollars. For them to pay back that debt, they have to pay it back in dollars as their currencies are declining. What Trump is saying, for example, about China purposely devaluing their currency, that's not true. Trump, he's wrong on it. What they're doing, China spent $1 trillion in the last few years of reserve currencies trying to stop the currency outflows. They killed hundreds of billions of dollars worth of deals overseas to stop currency outflows.
I didn't know.
So the stronger the dollar gets, these other countries that have debt in dollars, China not one of them, of course, but all the others, they have to pay it back with more bucks. So what we're saying is, as the dollar gets stronger, you're going to start seeing some real shaking going on in the global economy. So, again, there's two sides of it, because the other thing, Jeff, the only reason the equity markets grew from the end of the panic of '08 was because of record low interest rates, stock buybacks, and merger and acquisition activity. That's a fact. Because as we also know, 95% of the wealth created since 2009 went to the 1%. So if they raise interest rates, we may see a big downturn in the market. But we're saying at this point it's not a market crash, it's a market correction. You always have corrections when markets go up this fast.
They have to.
But we don't see a crash right now.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Well, this is encouraging. It's encouraging for Trump. What we don't need is more crisis. And I don't know how you view or what Paul Craig Roberts views as viable, but how would you rate his staff?
Oh, like you said about that guy Priebus, how can you bring in that little jerk?
He's a spy for Paul Ryan.
And I agree with you with Pence as well. Ryan, these are all little nobodies.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't know about Bannon. I hear good things about it from some people on the inside. I don't know. This is what they tell me. And the rest of the staff, like you said, what this Kushner kid doing there? And as I said, when Netanyahu came here one time, he stayed at Kushner's parents' house, and you see the people that Trump has brought in to negotiate the Israeli deal. That guy, his lawyer, that has given money for settlers to steal Palestinian land.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on those kind of fronts, I'm totally against it. And I'm tired of hearing we have to defend Israel. No, we don't.
Oh, God. What they want, of course, is for us to go in and take out Iran for them. That's what they really want. And they could do a false flag any time in this country, light off a low-level backpack nuke somewhere and kill 10, 20,000 people. It's 9/11 times 100 or 1,000. And they could blame the Iranians immediately. Then the mainstream media starts beating the war drums. The Iranians did it. They smuggled a nuke in here, blah, blah, blah. And then we're off to war for Israel again. We can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen.
What you just said about off to war for Israel again, people should go back to, I believe it was 2000 or 2001, with Netanyahu talking before a congressional committee, mm-hmm. warning us about Iraq and how Saddam Hussein had to go.
There it is.
He set the stage for the war. You can go to YouTube. You could find it. It's there. It's a fact. And so we see it that Israel gets involved in a crisis with Iran and the United States jumps in.
Sure.
That's the way we're
Or is told to jump in. When Netanyahu came over here, I don't see him as a man with his hat in his hand. I see him as a man who's controlling the cash cow. So, and now get this. Next Tuesday, who's coming to the White House? Nobody even talks about this. Angela, the European destroyer Merkel, is coming to see Mr. Trump. Now, what's that about?
Oh, it's simple. What's that about is she's in trouble, and it looks like she may lose the election.
Yeah.
And she's doing everything she can to try to play the populist card. And that's why she's coming over here, because populism is sweeping through Europe.
He had to let her swing in the wind, but I don't know. I wouldn't have her.
And you hear the Pope came out against populism? He said it's evil?
Yes.
What a joke. This guy, he's like an Obama, this Pope. He's so full of baloney.
He's
he does nothing.
He's an idiot. And he could be worse than that. Coming up through the ranks, you don't make it all the way to the top unless you play the game.
That's right. That's right.
We'll leave it as that. Look, it's been a pedophile enterprise forever, the Catholic Church. They're so damn dirty, those people, those priests. It's horrible. Everywhere you look now, they're making settlements, paying people off to shut them up. It's got to be dragged out into the light of day sometime. Maybe it will with this Petergate, Pizzagate thing that's going on now. That's what's got people scared. I read one thing about how Chucky Schumer is constantly calling his sources, asking if Anthony Weiner's hard drive has been accessed by anybody. Apparently, there are photos of Chucky, little Chucky.
These little nothings,
total nothing.
Boys.
Total.
Yeah. Little boys.
But they're worse than that, Gerald. They're criminals. They're perverts.
Oh, no, I agree. Oh, yeah. No, look at the wars that they start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at the people they kill. And that's the other thing, by the way, the United States moving into Yemen. What are we doing over there?
Well, we're killing people. It's our specialty. Donald Trump is sending special forces in there. He's got American drones there killing people. Oh, collateral damage. Whoop. 98% collateral damage. Whoop. No.
It's killed a couple of days ago. They just killed about 30.
That's right.
Yep.
So, Mr. Trump, we've got to turn away from these foreign wars. If you can't, if you've been threatened, we understand. But if you can, why aren't you doing it? Yep. You promised us.
Jeff, the only way out that we see is peace, and
that's the only way out.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody does.
Go back to the 1930s, the hottest, happiest music America's ever known. It's swing time, and we're in a Great Depression.
Yeah.
We're in a Great Depression. People addressed it. They're trying to pump up the energy of the country. We're at peace.
Right.
You cannot create beauty, joy, elegance, and grace in a state of war and terror.
No, that was the Art Deco period. Look at our Art Deco. One of America's most unique. Oh yeah. Most unique accomplishments, artistically speaking, was the Art Deco period. Isn't a decade of peace? You're totally right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're totally right. This is not good. All right, now you've got some things coming up on your calendar. We got just a few seconds, so let's mention some of those. What's happening here?
Well, we have a conference over in Ireland in June, and you can go to our trendsresearch.com, and you can see the conference in Galway, and several days. And, of course, the Trends Journal, Trends in the News, Trends Monthly, Trends Alerts. And we're also, we're doing a lot of other things. We're going to be going to India, opening the magazine there as well.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
only 1.2 billion people.
Yeah.
Wow. And
I'll be there in April.
The nice thing about getting to spend time talking to you about these things is you're a man who's doing his destiny, and you're having fun doing it. I know you are. You really love your work, and that's a special thing.
Well, you do as well, and you do a great job, and you enlighten a lot of people, and you're a real fighter, and there aren't many left.
Thank you very much. Talk to you next month, Gerald. You be well.
Okay, man. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night. All right, that's our first hour tonight. Be right back. Tonight, 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 be right back.